Good day, third year students. Today we are going to do another poem by W.B. Yeats. We have already done a prayer for my daughter by the same poet, and today we are going to do another poem, The Wild Swans at Coole. This poem was published in 1919, and once again in this poem, the poet contrasts the carefree life of the world of birds and nature with that of human life. The same theme we find in the sky is sea and the skylark, and he contrasts the two worlds where sorrows and losses leave their mark. Human life is marked by sorrows and losses. And in this poem, we find a detailed description of the background, which offers the landscape and also a backdrop to the wild swans. And here again, the wild swans are the representative of the purity, the innocence, and the originality of the things of nature. The central stanza is the third stanza, which is concerned primarily with the poet's response, and the real contrast is contained in Now My Heart is Sore. So I will first read out first stanza and then discuss with you the poem. The poet says, "The trees are in their autumn beauty, the woodland paths are dry. Under the October twilight, the water mirrors a still sky. Upon the brimming water, among the stones, are 59 swans." Now, in the first three lines, we come to know that it is autumn season and the day of the time is twilight. Twilight is dusk, after the evening and before the night time, and the month is October. So, the poet is sitting near a lake and he is watching the water. He says the trees are in their autumn beauty. Now, autumn beauty means there are not much leaves on the trees, and the woodland paths are dry because it is autumn season. It is not the spring season nor the rainy season. So the paths of the woodland, they are dry. There is no sign of grass or greenery on the paths. And he says that under the October twilight, now the month is October and the time of the day is twilight, he says the water of the lake mirrors a still sky. Now here, notice the metaphor in which two things are compared. The water of the lake is compared to a mirror. Mirror reflects whatever comes in front of it. In the same way, the water of the lake is also reflecting the still sky. Again, you see, still sky is transferred epithet. The sky is not still, but the water is still. But this figure of speech shows that the epithet means the adjective still, is transferred from water to sky. That is why it is called transferred epithet. Means the adjective is not used where it should have been used, but it is used with some other noun. So, the water mirrors a still sky. It means that the reflection of the sky can be seen in the water, and he says the sky is still. In other words, the water is so still that it is giving a very clear reflection of the sky. So, in the four lines, we have two figures of speech. Number one is the metaphor in which the still water is compared to a mirror, and then again the expression still sky is a transferred epithet. Now he says, upon the brimming water, among the stones. Brimming water. Brimming means it is full to the surface level, and there he can see 9 and 50 swans. Now notice this expression 9 and 50. Now remember Shakespearean language. Shakespeare generally says 4 and 20, 5 and 40 instead of saying 45 and 24. So he says, I can see 59 swans. Next stanza. The 19th autumn has come upon me since I first made my count. I saw before I had well finished, all suddenly mount and scatter wheeling in great broken rings upon their clamorous wings. Now this stanza is filled with beautiful imagery. He says, 19th autumn has come upon me since I first made my count. So he counted the 59 swans 19 years ago, and he says after that 19 years have passed and I saw before I had well finished. Today he was again counting the number of swans, but he started counting, but before he had finished his counting, he saw that all the swans started flying, clattering their wings. So all suddenly mount and scatter, wheeling in great broken rings. So you must have noticed that whenever there is a movement in the still water, till now the water was still, so still that the reflection of the sky was clearly to be seen. But with the movement of the swans, when they started to take their flight, there are lot of large rings, but they are breaking. Why? Because all the rings are clashing among themselves, the rings formed in the water, and they are being made and being broken. So they scatter, wheeling in great broken rings upon their clamorous wings. Clamorous wings again is an expression. He says that their wings, when they are about to take flight, their wings make a clamorous sound. I have looked upon those brilliant creatures, and now my heart is sore. Now in this stanza, as I told you that the third stanza is the central stanza of the poem, and he says that I have looked upon those brilliant creatures. For many years he have looked upon those brilliant creatures, and now my heart is sore. Now we are surprised that why the poet's heart is sore, because he gives answer, all has changed since I, hearing at twilight the first time on the shore the bell beat of the wings above my head, trod with a lighter tread. Now he says that all has changed, means his world has changed since I made the count of 59 swans 19 years ago. He says, I have looked upon these brilliant creatures, these beautiful swans, but now my heart is sore. Why the poet's heart is sore? Because he is contrasting the beautiful life of the beautiful, peaceful and the consistent life of the swans with the life of the human beings. He says, all has changed. For me in 19 years, my world has changed, my perspective has changed. A lot of changes I can feel within my insight, my perspective and my personality. But since I, hearing at twilight, first time on this shore, 19 years ago when I came first time on this shore, all has changed in my life. And he is hearing the bell beat of their wings, the music of the wings. The wings is compared to a bell beat. Again, it is a metaphor above my head. But at that time, means 19 years ago, I trod with a lighter tread. Trod is the past tense of tread, and tread means walk. So I walked with a lighter tread, means my life was not laden with sorrows. My life was carefree. My life was unknown to sorrows. And the struggles of life. So I walked 19 years ago, I walked with a lighter tread, means I was free of cares. I was free of the burden of materialism. Next stanza. Unwearied still, lover by lover, they paddle in the cold, companionable streams or climb the air. Upon their hearts have not grown old, passion or conquest. Wander where they will, attend upon them still. Now he contrasts the situation of the swans with his own life. He says, for me, my life has changed in 19 years, but the wild swans are still unwearied. They are not tired. They are still unwearied. Lover by lover, they paddle in the cold, companionable streams or climb the air. Their hearts have not grown old, passion or conquest, wander where they will, attend upon them still. He says that there are companionable streams of this pond and his life has changed, but the wild swans have continuing living in the same manner and their hearts are still the same, not as mine, not unwearied as not wearied as mine. Now he says whether they achieve passion or whether they achieve conquest, they are still the same and wander where they will. Whether they go in the water or they fly in the air, their lives do not change, but my life has changed. Last stanza. But now they drift on the still water, mysterious, beautiful. Among what rushes will they build? By what lake's edges or pool? Delight men's eyes when I wake someday to find that they have flown away. Now, in the last stanza, he is talking about the mystery of the wild swans, the mystery of their happiness. He wants to know their mystery. In the same way, we can compare this last stanza with the scholar gypsy, which we did last week, that the scholar gypsy also left the four walls of the Oxford University in order to go for a quest of real education. So he lived with the gypsies and got the secret of their life, the mystery of their life. So he says, they are still mysterious and beautiful to me, and I don't know that where will they build their nest again and by what lake, edges or pool. Wherever they go, they will continue to delight men's eyes, and when I will wake someday and I will find that they have all flown away. So this poem is a beautiful example again of the comparison and contrast between the things of nature and the situation of human life. So we can compare this poem with the sea and the skylark, which we did yesterday. We can also compare a little bit theme of this poem with the Dover Beach by Matthew Arnold. I hope you understood the poem. Thank you.